Welcome to the Astro Psyche. This is your weekly astrology forecast for October 28th through November 3rd. This week is about exploring new mysteries with a new moon in the sign of Scorpio. We have a grand trine in the element of water, and Mars is making some aspects. Venus-Saturn are aspecting a lot of other things that are happening this week that really help to amplify further and deepen your connection to something that feels more emotionally based, that is going into the mysterious, the deepening of an experience. My name is Shawna McGrath. I'm a psychotherapist and an astrologer, and I'm so delighted to be able to share the astrology of this week with you from a psychological perspective. So, to ground us, to sort of orient us in this week, we'll start with what's happening with the new moon. So we have a new moon in Scorpio happening on Friday, November 1st. It's exact at 5:47 a.m. in the morning Pacific time. And it's exact at 9 degrees of Scorpio. So sort of in the beginning chunk of the zodiac sign of Scorpio. And so, of course, new moons are a time of conception, of new beginning, of the planting of the seed into the soil, this opportunity for something to begin and to continue to grow and develop over the next month, over the next 6 months, over the next year. These are some of the cyclical containers of the lunar cycles. And so this week we have the new beginning. We have the initial intention. And this is, there's a few different layers to this new moon, as always. The first layer of this layer cake that we'll talk about is that it's in Scorpio. And so Scorpio is a water sign. So water signs are motivated by relationship, emotions, intuition, creativity. It's really about the bonds that we create and the experiences that we have when we're talking about water signs. And this is definitely so with Scorpio. Scorpio is also a fixed sign. So fixed is about developing and rooting into something. It's about continuing to deepen something that has already been established. And so Scorpio, in its most simplistic way of describing it, is about deepening emotional bonds, deepening relationships, deepening your experience of your, especially of your inner world. So Scorpio tends to have tones to it that are about introspection, contemplation. I think that Scorpio can also have an element of analyzing things, researching things, like really trying to get to the bottom of something. Scorpio is about the relational bonds that we have that are deep, intense, and continue to deepen and intensify over time. There's also an element to Scorpio of exploring what is hidden or mysterious. Scorpio holds the energy of things that might not be sunshine and rainbows, that might not be something that is pleasant or enjoyable. There's sort of this this quality of the hidden, or the I think even like an intense experience, like with Scorpio, I guess especially because we're in Halloween season or spooky season. It's about like watching this feeling that we get when we watch a horror movie or something like this, where there's an intense experience and it can be moving and also cathartic at the same time. And so Scorpio sort of holds these kinds of qualities. There's an intensity to it, and that can be that can have all different kinds of effects on us. And so during this new moon, there is a new beginning around all of these themes, around the way that you connect intimately with others and the way that you experience and explore something that might be unknown or mysterious in your life. Um, and then it's sort of bringing this more into the psychological. Scorpio symbolizes our personal unconscious, the parts of ourselves that we don't know that we don't know, and the things that motivate us that we don't realize. And so I think that also during this new moon, there's an opportunity to really dig deep into something that maybe has been elusive to you, and to have new insights and awarenesses, and to become more comfortable with not knowing, to be more comfortable with exploring things that are unknown to you about yourself. So another component of this new moon is that it is ruled by the planet Mars, because in the traditional ancient rulership system, Scorpio as a sign is ruled by Mars as a planet. And so this particular moon has a quality of it that is connected to Mars. Mars is about our defense systems. It's about our ability to initiate, to move forward, to execute, to be direct, to express healthy aggression or boundaries, or to push back on something, to fight for something, to advocate for something, to have initiative and passion and enthusiasm. These are all Mars themes. And right now, Mars is in the sign of Cancer. So there's, again, this multiple layers around emotional connection, around feelings, around intuition. And I think also we could look at this as how our emotions and intuitions tell us about what it is that we want to connect with, that we want to bond more deeply with, and what we want to maybe create some boundaries around, or things that even that we want to fight for, things that motivate us to fight for something. And this is also important this week because Mars connects in to a trine with both Mercury and Neptune. And so this is often called a grand trine, when all three of the signs of the element, in this case water, so all three water signs, are making an aspect. Or I guess I should say, to say that more properly, there are three planets that are making a trine with each other, and each of them are in a different water sign. So we have Mars in Cancer, we have Mercury in Scorpio, and then we have Neptune in Pisces. And trines are an easy flow of energy. Things happen very naturally, very, very organically. When there's a trine aspect, it typically doesn't require anything of us. There's not a lot of psychological conflict or tension, or even external conflict or tension. And I really like this for us because we do have a more tense aspect with Venus-Saturn, which I'll talk about in a moment. But there's this really sweet flow and ease with Mars, which is action, initiation, defense system, boundaries, and Mercury, which is the mind, thought processes, communication, our way of processing info. Mercury is also the psychopomp, the figure, the benevolent figure who guides and accompanies souls from one world to another. So Mercury has this theme of moving through different places, of transferring a person or info from one place to another. There's a very I think, otherworldly component to Mercury. It's not just about communication, it's also about transporting and transition, and the divine quality of being in one place to another, and even being in two places at one time. There's sort of like a paradoxical quality to Mercury. I digress. So that combined with action, and then Neptune, which Neptune is a symbol of the unseen. Neptune is a symbol of anything that we experience, but that we cannot really describe, touch, or feel within the material reality that we experience. And so Neptune is about fantasy, inspiration, art, as well as illusion and delusion and deception. It's about our consciousness and our concept of reality becoming what's the word? I want to say bent, or like the bending of reality. And this can be really uplifting and inspiring. And then it can also get us sidetracked or feel, if it gets into illusion or delusion, it can be sort of confusing or take us in a direction that we don't necessarily want to go into. Now, so I say that to sort of give you the full spectrum of possibility with Neptune. That being said, I really like this trine. I think that there's a confluence around action and asserting and the logical mind getting on board with the intuition. It feels like a very organic flow of being able to act on what feels true for you, what you're thinking. There's a lot of creativity and a lot of allowing what moves you to come into action, to be able to take action from your inspiration. Now, this is all in the context of we're in the time of the new moon where things tend to be more introverted or reflective. And so this may mean taking action behind the scenes or in a way that's more subtle. It may be that you, rather than like taking action in the physical material world, it may mean having a sense of clarity and a sense of surety, or a sense of really like things clicking into place in your brain. I think it's also a fantastic time for having meaningful dreams or spiritual experiences or meditative experiences. And so if that's something that you connect with and resonate with and you want to channel more into your life, this is a great opportunity to actively seek guidance or information from a divine or otherworldly source, whatever that means for you, whether it is simply the divine or if it is asking for guidance and help from your spirit guides or your ancestors or a deity, gods, goddesses that you feel that you have a connection with. It. This can be a great time to further that connection, again, because we're talking about Scorpio with the deepening of connections. Okay, so another piece, so there's kind of a lot that's happening this week with Mars. Another piece of Mars, in addition to this very like flowy, lovely trine that we have, is that Mars is making an opposition to Pluto. And so this is Mars in a more tense aspect where there is a bit more of a theme here around possibly tension or conflict, and especially with Mars being the symbol of action and boundaries and standing up for yourself or someone else. That's very Mars. And then Pluto is about the unconscious. Pluto is about power, the ways that we relate to power and control and autonomy, and the very psychological component of power, what it means to you to have choice and to have a sense of clarity and surety in your own experience. And so Mars moves slower than like Mercury and Venus. So we've been moving towards this Mars-Pluto opposition the last week or two. So it's not like a brand new energy, but it is going to become exact this week. So there's sort of like this this lead up and then a peak and then a waning or a dissipating sort of energy next week. And so I would really notice this week when you feel agitated or annoyed, or like any number of things that feel that sort of like Mars like, because that is telling us that there is something here that's getting activated that that may that may lie within the Pluto themes around power, control, um, and that could be where, I don't know, maybe you feel like someone or something has more control over you in your life than you want it to. It could be that you are maybe trying to control a situation and that it's frustrating because you cannot. So I think like this really, whenever we have a Pluto aspect, it's really helpful to slow down and look at the feelings that are coming up, especially because we have a very feely astrological climate right now. To notice the uncomfortable feelings that come up and wonder what may those be saying about what is happening for you here, and especially is there something that you need to feel safe and secure, to feel like your um, anger, aggression, assertiveness, your ability to fight for something, does that have a place in your life? Are you able to um, express when something doesn't feel good for you? And then, so this happens, these Mars aspects that we've been talking about with Mars and Cancer, and then this week also, if that wasn't enough, Mars moves into Leo. So there's a definite tone change when Mars moves into Leo. Mars moves into Leo on Sunday, the 3rd of November. And Mars will be in Leo for quite a bit of time because it's actually going to station retrograde in Leo in December. So Mars is going to be in the sign of Leo. We're all sort of getting this intensive master class in Mars and Leo, Mars and Cancer for that matter too. But Mars will be in Leo from November 3rd through January 6th. So we're really going to do Mars and Leo this next couple of months together. And so there, with Mars in this sign, there's a focus on fierceness in the way that we express and are able to express and experience healthy assertion, healthy anger, healthy aggravation. Mars in general to me always feels very adolescent-y, very teen-like. It's like really about um, finding a sense of healthy autonomy and boundary and structure around your life in a way that's a bit different than Saturn. Saturn is about boundaries, but Mars is more about how we really how important it is to have a sense of our no and what that means and what that experience is, and that takes some exploring and experiencing sometimes. With Leo, there's also a theme around leadership and creative self-expression, and Leo tends to be really oriented around how we feel that we can be loved, to receive love, to give love, and in a way where we feel a sense of appreciation or affection or connection via being able to be who it is that we actually are, and that comes from a place of playful self-expression. Let's see, what else do I want to say about that? So yeah, I think Mars and Leo is really about connecting more to this feeling of who you are and what it means to be yourself, especially where that is met with anything that might feel like it's sort of impinging on that and what that's like for you. And I think that over the next couple of months, there's a lot of opportunity to experience passion and the creative element, like really connecting into the sense of vitality around that. Okay, also this week we have Venus in Sagittarius making a square to Saturn. And so And this is actually, it's making a square to Saturn and an opposition to Jupiter. So we have another sort of um, big aspect that's tying in several different signs. And this is often called a T-square. So this is more of a tense aspect. Venus, Saturn, Jupiter. This is about connecting in with what really matters for you and prioritizing the relationships and the experiences that align with your values and your vision for the future. Jupiter and Saturn are really about expanding and contracting and how we can live in a way that feels expressive and abundant and beautiful, and like we are growing and developing and we are actually enjoying our life and that things are moving forward, while Saturn is about creating a sense of containment around that. And that I think this aspect this week reminds us that we have a finite life here in this material world and that we can't do everything, even though we may want to. And so there's a bit of, I think, confrontation that can happen around that when we have Venus square Saturn, and especially this Jupiter coming in here too. It's like, okay, there's a lot that can happen here, and there's a lot of possibility. And how can you, especially since these are immutable signs are also about really wanting to do all of the things. And so how can you focus on the few things that really, really matter to you and feel expansive? Those are some of the themes here. Okay. The other piece of what's happening here, so gosh, there's a lot happening this week, a lot of different factors. And so I find when this happens, there can be sort of like a mix, like a buffet mix versus a main course sort of situation. And so the other piece of what's happening here is that Mercury in Scorpio will also make an opposition to Uranus, which I think brings some inspiration and some insight and some sort of lightning bolt ideas. And then on Saturday, Mercury will change signs. On Saturday, the 2nd, Mercury will move into Sagittarius. And so I think overall, there's a lot of potential this week for exploring something new. And I think that the astrology signals that there's something new that might be emerging for you in your life or in the way that you experience life, and what it means to you to live in your current life circumstances. And I think that this week is possibly less about external changes, though of course that can always happen, but this really feels very reflective to me and about connecting in with what it means to you to live your life, to be who you are, to live as a human in this world. And I think that there's a lot of comfort and care that we can bring to that to amplify that process. Okay, so I have my tarot cards here that I'm shuffling, and this is a point here where you can get into a space to connect with yourself. As best you can, feel your body and your being relax here. Connect with your breath, with either a sense of stillness or a sense of rhythmic movement that feels relaxing to you. Now is also a beautiful time to connect in with any divine guidance that resonates with you, whether that is requesting the help of your spiritual guidance team or ancestors or angels. Ask that they help and support and guide you and communicate with you through these cards in a way that you can easily understand right now. And if there is a number between 3 that you wish to choose, you can allow that number to come forward now. And that card will be special to you. So first card is the Justice card. And justice, just as it sounds, is about justice, harmony, balance, things working out in a way that is honoring. Like there's a sense of morality and fairness and things working out in a way where I always find the Justice card is like you don't have to. I think you don't have to necessarily be the one to orchestrate the situation. That thing, like there's an element of like trusting that things will work out in the way that like there's a divine sense of justice here. And of course, I think that does not remove the inspiration or sometimes the obligation to do something. There is injustice. I'm really feeling the Mars Pluto opposition in this card. And this is the first card, so this is sort of like the main theme or topic here. And when I'm feeling into this in this moment, it feels like taking care of yourself and taking care of other people and doing the best that you can do to honor yourself as well as others, and to create a space for other people to exist. Like really with connecting in with Mars Pluto, like really removing the sense of expectation that others should be like you or that you should be like others, and trusting in that process, trusting that there will be justice and that your actions can also move that forward no matter how small, that even just your way of being has an impact in the way that you move through the world. The second card is the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups tends to be about the past and reminiscing. There's a component here sometimes of ancestry or childhood, and this to me may mean that this is a part of what you're exploring this week, how your early experiences, either childhood experiences or how your lineage could be your immediate family of origin or experiences through your previous generations, how all of those have an impact on you. Literally in the world, systemically in society, but also just energetically and emotionally. And so I think this is important, is that if you're having an experience now, especially if you're having like a strong emotion, whether that is sadness or grief or frustration or anxiety, we always assume that it is us and that it is something very immediate that's happening. And that's a very individualistic way of looking at it. I think that we don't always acknowledge that it can be something about the environment, about the system that we live in, or that there is some sort of memory in the DNA that has been transmitted through your ancestors. And so I think even just like realizing that and then getting really curious about what that might be helps to sort of untangle that experience. And then the last card is the Two of Cups. This is about relationships and coming together to connect, and feels very Scorpio moon to me. So as I'm like looking at all of these together, there's this sense maybe of injustice or something not being fair. And I think that, certainly we don't need this tarot spread to tell us that there's a lot of injustice in our current world and our climate. Um, and this is coming to you at this moment. And so I wonder if there's something in your life now where that is very present for you, whether that is collectively your experience of the world or something that's more immediate in your personal life. And so there's this theme around working through the experience of injustice and the experience of how to create justice. And this involves going back in time, going back in history, whatever that looks like for you, and untangling maybe an emotional experience there, and that this frees up the possibility for connection. So beautiful that it ends here with connection. That is your weekly astrology forecast for this week. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. I want to tell you that I am hosting a new moon circle this Friday, the 1st, for the new moon in Scorpio. I would absolutely love to have you there. And I also am accepting new members for my 2 therapy groups that I have going right now, a tarot therapy group and an astrology therapy group. It's a fantastic way to work with me if either you can't afford therapy, individual therapy, or if you want to supplement your existing individual therapy, whether that's with another therapist or with me, if you want to have this deepening of connection. You can find out more about all of those things and me and my work on my website, theastropsyche.com. I'm wishing you a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.